Hello everyone, my name is Nastia and today we have a Tamron 2040 lens for Sony on review. I welcome you to the FOTORAZGON channel.
And my name is Andrey Nikiforov. And yes, indeed, today we have a wide-angle zoom Tamron 2040 high-speed 2 and 8 for Sony cameras. Actually, here it is in my hands. You will see him again and again today. Also pictures from it and my own conclusions about its quality and scope. Gone are the days when zoom lenses, wide-angle zoom lenses, high-power zoom lenses were huge and heavy. Perhaps you remember some Nikon 14-24 2 and 8. That was a monster. Well, it doesn't matter, even if you don't remember. There were times, but they are gone. Now, thank God, the era of small compact lenses is coming. This lens weighs only 365 grams. The length and width of it actually here at the bottom will be written now for you. The lens is made of black plastic, which is durable in my opinion. In principle, you have seen the same materials on other Tamron lenses. These are 2875 famous ones that have already undergone 2 different releases, 2 different revisions. And even on the seemingly competitor of this lens, there are 17-28mm smoother. The lens comes in a box like this. Apart from the lens itself and the lens hood and the back cover, there is nothing there. So, in principle, it is not necessary to count on the lens bag. Put it in your case, in your lens bag more carefully. As a person who shoots interiors a lot, I think that 20mm may not be enough for this. A lot of pictures can be taken at 20mm, but sometimes in a cramped room you need to take something wider. And my favorite focal lengths are still from 17 to 24mm. And 40mm here is a huge bonus to shoot some detail in a stylish, designer interior. But sometimes 20mm may not be enough. You will not have a place to move away to shoot this wonderful or that wonderful kitchen, bathroom or some small room. Of course, you shoot what you want and how you want, but it seems to me that the scope of this lens is quite limited. 20mm is still not enough, the wide angle is not wide enough. But for tourism, to walk through the streets of some city you haven't been to yet and take pictures of architectural monuments, as well as relatives and friends on some beautiful background, it will probably be more than enough. Well, no more than enough. Let's just say it will be a good help for this purpose. And also another area of application is shooting in nightclubs.
In general, I took pictures with this lens, with Tamron. What can I tell you about him? Now I have Sigma 16mm. I'm just thinking about what to replace it with, and it seems to me that this would be a very good option. Taking into account the fact that I periodically take pictures in nightclubs and I need a wide enough angle to approach people and photograph their movement in very cramped circumstances. That is, without waving the lens, hands, and so on. Here the lens size allows you to do all this. It's not bulky, it's short. It's about the same as my Sigma 16mm. That is, I think it would be a good option. Plus, if you are going somewhere on a trip with your wife or husband. In the same way, you can use it to photograph landscapes, photograph a building. Also, the focal length of 40mm will allow you to make good portraits.
By the way, I forgot to mention its price. Now its price is about €900. And the cost of its closest competitor from the same Tamron is €100 less, €799. Perhaps the difference will be equalized in the near future, but if you need a wider lens, and most likely if you are engaged in professional interior photography, you will need a wider lens. There exactly 28 will be a little more useful for you. But if 20mm are enough for you and you want a longer lens on the contrary, and 28 is not well, it's still a wide angle. And 40mm on this lens, you can already take some decent portrait. Already some detail to take off, considering the macro capabilities of this lens. Yes, that is, you can shoot quite large, quite small things. And I almost forgot, there are no switches on the lens itself. There are only 2 rings. This is the focus ring to the zoom ring. And there is no manual focus switch. But there is an USB connector. It is true that it is open to all winds, waters, sand and dust and salt, but nevertheless through it you can adjust, for example, the direction of adjusting the focus ring. And you will have to switch to manual focus through the camera menu. Now let's put the lens aside and take a closer look at its optical properties. Let's see the sharpness on our rough concrete wall. One of the frames is that we were aiming at 40 mm in the middle, and the second frame I aimed at the left corner, respectively. This is where we can see it. Here we have the center, here we have the corner. The angle is noticeably less sharp, but in real life, you probably won't see this problem. Moreover, if you shoot at 2 and 8, you assume that your edges are likely to be slightly blurred. The same wall in the same places. Center, edge, but at f8 by 40 mm. Now the sharpness of the eye is practically no different. Anyway, I don't see the difference. And now we are looking at 20 mm, 2 and 8, respectively. The center of the frame, the edge of the frame, the upper left corner. You know, the situation is even better at 20 mm than it was at 40 mm with an open aperture. Quite interesting. And we switch to the f8 aperture at the same 20 mm. That center, that edge visually looks almost the same. I don't see any difference in sharpness again. Well, a wonderful lens, what else do you need? Let's move on to the next point, hairs, they are also highlights. Here I made a frame here in which a light bulb shines directly into the camera. We will see a light halo around it, which is completely normal for a light source that shines directly into the camera. But I don't see any flares. Perhaps a point bright source would give a small flare of some kind. But I have seen in other reviews, in order to achieve some kind of lens flare, yes, you need to try very, very hard. I couldn't do it. This is a frame with a light source of 40 mm and exactly the same frame with a light source of 20 mm, respectively. Bokeh. This lens can make background somewhat blurry. To do this, you will have to shot on 40 mm, of course. Well, we can see what the blur circles, point light sources look like, and the light bulbs are hanging there. Let's see that we have pretty clean blur circles. Unfortunately, with a halo, but there are no rings inside. Well, the bokeh are pretty unsurprising. 40 mm 2 and 8. It's not huge, but it's there. Vignette and distortion by 20 mm. The latest camera raw already has correction profiles for this lens. And clicking on the profile corrections checkmark, we see that the vignette is quite noticeable. Distortion is present, but not huge, not like it often happens on modern lenses that rely just on software correction of distortions. But if you just put a check mark on the automatic correction, by default, then you will never see these problems yourself. On the f8 there is a smaller vignette. Distortion does not change this in any way, of course, but the vignette is corrected quite a bit. Here is another example with a light source right in the frame. I don't see any lens flares. The lens allows you to shoot objects quite close. It's not that macro, but to shoot a funny head at a wide angle for the whole frame, you will most likely get a scale of about 1 to 4. That is, respectively, on a full frame, we multiply the width of the frame by 3.5 cm by 4. We get about 14.5 cm. You can shoot the object for the whole frame. Here is some kind of attempt to shoot something like a macro. Well, you see, yes, you can get pretty close. And we have 23 mm. Let me remind you that you can download all these pictures from the link in the description. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Do not switch, subscribe to this channel, put likes to this review. I also have a Telegram channel where I post my thoughts about the photo industry. What else? Well, actually everything is probably. Wait for the next video, there may be a review of some lens, or maybe a stream about photo news, or maybe even processing your photos. Thank you, goodbye.